Welcome to Optimistic Opportunities. I am so excited to have Barbara Jessie. Hey, Barbara,
Hi.
with us today on Optimistic Opportunities. She has such a wealth of knowledge to share with us today on this topic. We were having lunch one day in Carborough, catching up, and she was sharing with me her mindfulness practice and things that she's done. She's even done some speaking, I think, to some groups and such. So I was just like chomping at the bit, trying to get Barbara to come on my show today. So you're in for a real treat. Barbara, welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Carl. I'm happy to be here and happy to spend time with you, even in the virtual space. I miss having lunch with you. So it's nice to be able to connect at least this way.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I was like, oh gosh, Barbara and I need to catch up and have lunch again. Maybe we'll do a virtual lunch.
Well, we've known each other for several iterations in our careers. So it's kind of neat to be at this end. So
Yes. So Barbara is the president CEO, is that correct?
it is.
Of Community Works in Chapel Hill and Carborough, and that's formerly known as the PTA Thrift Shop. She has taken that organization to new heights and done such amazing things with that organization. And I respect her so greatly for what she has done. So you're a gem. You're just amazing. Plus, you have all this great stuff in your stores, which I just
there's that.
Over.
There's that.
Well, we're not here to talk about work. We're here to talk about our personal lives and what we're doing to, help ourselves and help others to get through this challenging time. So
yeah,
how are you taking care of your mental health? Mm-hmm. And what do you do to pay attention to your mental health during this reset?
So before I answer the question, I want to give you a huge shout out because I think what you're doing is pretty remarkable and important at this time, to really connect with other people and find out how we're all sort of navigating this unprecedented time. So I wanted to take a minute and just say thank you to you, because I think it's really important. You're taking the time to do something that, others are not necessarily able to. And so thank you for that. That said, my mental health, wow. So I'll say what I'm doing is I have, as you've articulated, I've got a mindfulness practice, a meditation practice that I do twice a day. And when the stay-at-home order first came about, I will say that I was a little sort of terrified. I'm an introvert and I like to spend time by myself, but I thought, am I going to be able to really, spend time truly by myself with myself? And so what I started doing was really meditating more and longer. And so that helped me to sort of navigate the anxiety that comes with not only navigating through a pandemic, but also running an organization through that, through that process and through this challenge. And so I'll say that how I take care of myself and my mental health is more about carving out necessary time to be with myself in a way that doesn't involve any work activity. Or to some degree, any, social media or any of those things that sort of keep your mind churning. And so I practice my meditation in the morning before I start my day, and then in the evening to sort of wrap things up. I also try very hard not to answer emails after a certain period of time at night or to respond to text messages or that kind of thing that are work related. Because I think that, after a certain point of time in the day, especially during this pandemic and being at home most of the time working, there's no beginning and no end to how long you can work because people are expecting you to be on all the time. And so just being able to carve out those times for myself and to really be mindful that that is my time and not, not anyone else's time. So that's how I'm, and some days are better than others, right? I mean, we all sort of struggle with, what that timing looks like because we feel an urgency, especially, now that we're sort of we're not through the pandemic. We don't even know, when that end point is. But there's this anxiety, a different type of anxiety that's coming up now, that we feel like we need to be more productive because we're, 5 months into this, and, why are we not being more productive? And so just, being mindful to turn some of that chatter off.
Is what have you learned to live without?
Mm-hmm.
And how has this changed your outlook on expectations in your life? So let me just break that one up, and let me ask
Sure.
you only one question. What have you learned to live without?
Um, Gosh, I think it's twofold. One is the more tangible. As a person who works a lot, I was used to eating out a lot, right? I mean, I would work late and then just, grab something and come home. So I've learned to live without that, and have learned to be more mindful about my meals, because I'm now responsible for those meals in earnest. So I would say, so living without that, that sort of that social connection, and also that, that dietary connection of going out to eat. I think the other thing I've learned to live without is this notion of true certainty. And, I say that because certainty is, it's a misnomer, whether it's a pandemic or not. But when you have a routine and you realize that, every day I do this, I may deviate from some things, if I go on vacation, or if I, do something else socially, but I can always, like clockwork, count on the things that I do, because I work, 50 to 60 hours a week, that kind of thing. And I realized through this global pandemic that uncertainty uncertainty is a real thing, and not just a real thing from a perspective of, not being able to count on things because life is uncertain, but just how we're moving through spaces, that when your routine changes, your level of anxiety around uncertainty is heightened. And, we all know that, but when you're experiencing it individually and now collectively, there's a different level of anxiety and uncertainty that presents itself. And so I've learned to live without sort of that notion of true certainty, or the certainty that I had created for myself. And I think to some degree that's really liberating, because you realize that you really are not in control. And you always sort of knew that academically, and but in practice we still sort of feel like we're in control, because we go to work, we do certain things that we do routinely. And so yeah, I would say that that's been the thing that has been that I've learned to live without, and feel sort of liberated around that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's a process, right? I mean, again, it allows, part of how I got there was being with myself. I mean, when you're with yourself, you have time to reflect, and, realizing that uncertainty, nothing is ever certain, but we've created this narrative around certainty that the global pandemic just basically blew up. And so now
Right.
what, right? So now how do you move through that? Do you embrace it and lean into it? Or do you now also say that, those of us who are working in jobs that, I'm allowed to do that because I have a certain advantage and a certain privilege in because of the work that I do, and how, the station in life that I have. And so I know that's unique to myself, and it may be unique to others. It's not everyone's experience. And so I fully embrace that, and know that for a lot of people, this is an incredibly, incredibly challenging time. But I'll say for myself, the level of uncertainty, I've embraced it, and understand that there's, a higher a higher power and a higher meaning at play. And that's, that's also part of the mental health piece for me, is knowing that.
I think the only thing that's like buzzing around in my head is, the uncertainty of when I first went and got like my first job in sales,
Mm-hmm.
but I actually had a salary. So that
Right.
wasn't really uncertainty. It was like, it was
Mhm.
kind of like, well, you have to earn the rest of your salary. So that was like the first level of uncertainty. The next one was, then I went somewhere where I was 100% commission. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, whoa, that was very uncertain. And then went back somewhere else where I was able to, grow from a base, but then went into a very uncertain profession of real estate. I'm not trying to talk about work though, but to probably one of the most uncertain, professions, and one of the highest stress level professions is real estate. And being uncertain about the career, but then also about, the world in which we live. And it's just kind of like, maybe that's just why I was speechless. It's like, well, everywhere I am in my world, I'm uncertain.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but I think what I try to do with that uncertainty is I'm a creature of habit.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to have, you're smiling knowing that, I like to have these certain things that I do.
Right.
This is my process. I work 9 to 5, that's it. Monday through Friday, I work 9 to 5. Of course, in this profession, you're doing stuff at night and on the weekends, of course, as well. But I know that that is a time that I'm always working. Not during that time, I'm not working unless it's, something going on with a client. But I really like the uncertainty that you've brought up in my brain today, because I want to take it to a meditation
Mm-hmm.
one morning and just meditate on uncertainty and just see if some
What
thought.
comes in, yeah, what comes up for you. And I think that's part of it, right? So the meditation practice has helped me to embrace the uncertainty and to really sit with it in a way that when I was constantly in the car going back and forth to my office, I wasn't even cognizant of the fact that that nothing is certain, right? I mean, yes, we know that, but really sort of sitting with the uncertainty and understanding for myself that it's liberating to know that that on some level, the control that you think you have, that you've sort of created in your mind for yourself, is not really, it doesn't really exist. And so that allows you to release, what you held so tight, which, shows up as anxiety for, for a lot of us. So, yeah, it's, you'll have
So
to let
we're
me know what you
running out
meant.
of time and a little bit over time, unfortunately. But I want to ask you this question in closing. Because of what you do and how you serve our community and so many different organizations, through Community Works, to end in a positive note of like, what have you done, or you know, what have you done through your work? Very short, very short little answer, to make a difference in people's lives or organizations' life or something.
Oh, wow. You said short answer? Oh
It's
my
like
God.
only
Right.
one, and you've got so many.
So I'll say just knowing that people have challenges and helping to provide access to resources. I'll leave it at that.
Cool.
You said
Awesome.
short, so access to resources.
Wow. I should have already been cueing music.
Oh,
So Barbara, that was awesome.
well, thank you so much for this opportunity. It was lovely.
You're welcome. And thank you so much for the kind words you said about this. I keep on thinking to myself, I was like, is this getting old? Or
No, not at all.
value to people? Should I continue doing this?
Yes.
Please, send in your thoughts to me about topics if you want us to change topics, or if there's certain
No, I think this is spot
you'd
on.
like us to invite. Next week, we have Cynthia Gadol, who is the founder of Excelsior Classical Academy. That is a charter school in North Durham, and they wear uniforms and they teach respect and community.
Nice.
It is really a cool school. So looking forward to hearing what Cynthia has to say next week at 1:00. And y'all have an awesome day. Thank you so much. Be kind to one another and do great things for other people so that you can lift their spirits.